Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Jem and the Holograms? Hello indeed. Welcome. Welcome again to our Can We Talk About podcast, a podcast that Can We talks about very few things considered. I mean, we got Jem and 15 movies thus far. That's our year in review. 16, I guess.
Check out all that variety.
But you know what? Even then, even with the scant amount of stuff that we've talked about, I think we've talked about more than we're qualified for. So, there we go.
If you're saying that we occasionally go off on tangents about things like Dr. Fraser Crane and magic fetishes, then there is a big variety.
Anyway, we're here this week. We're going to open some more books. We're going to review a lovely series, that Neon Nightmare, that pastel phantasm, that ferociously, fashionably frightening 80s cartoon, air quotes classic, Jem and the Holograms. I am the puke-green t-shirt of this equation. My name is Joe.
I can't read. I'm Kristen.
And we are watching Jem and the Holograms via Shout Factory's Jem and the Holograms Truly Outrageous Complete Series, a box set, and the wonderful world of Netflix. Kristen, what do you got on Netflix this week?
Nothing, I think. Wow, this actually caught me off guard, even though we do it every single week. I'm still kind of watching The Crown. It's going very slowly.
There we go. I started Star Trek Voyager, and now I'm alternating episodes of that, Voyager and Deep Space Nine. So there we go. And that's what I'm doing. You know, Kristen, for some reason, Star Trek Voyager is the fourth Star Trek series. And one of my friends was told, yeah, you should start with Voyager. Even though, you know, it's got all this stuff that has references to the other, like, both The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, right at the beginning, to where if you're starting with this one, it might be a little confusing. They have, like, a little Star Wars scroll at the beginning, but I don't think it makes it any better. I don't know who told him to start with Voyager, but it was, maybe because it's apparently not the best one? I don't know.
I guess that depends. Anything that's in a series, kind of, that I have, like, watched or played, I've definitely heard discourse on, like, whether it's okay to start later down, if it's a slightly different thing. Like, I know so many people who have only watched season 3 of Black Mirror, and I'm like, why? That seems like a strange choice. But it's things like, you know, you play Persona 4, you go back to the high school in Persona 3. When I first played Persona 4, I didn't fucking understand what was happening.
Yeah, alright, no, that's fair. These things happen, occasionally.
They're like, yeah, it's okay if you want to do that, I guess. It's still accessible, but just do it in order. Do it all in order. People who were like, just don't watch season 1 of Buffy. What? Skip certain episodes of season 1 of Buffy, sure. Don't skip season 1 of Buffy.
Not the entire season, of course.
No. It's like, the first season is like 12 episodes, too.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
right?
That's nothing.
And they were
Jesus.
short back then. It was a mid-season replacement for Savannah? Some show that got canceled.
What the hell is Savannah?
A show that got canceled. I think that's what it was called.
There we go. Anyway, this week we are diving into the world of illiteracy and Philadelphia. I don't think
they go hand in hand.
This week they do, Kristen. I don't know if they go hand in hand normally.
Yo, they paint a really grim picture of what everyone in Philadelphia is like.
This episode is, of course, Roxy Rumbles, an episode we have referenced countless times so far due to the revelation that Roxy can't read, with the supposed revelation. If you listen to the podcast at all, not really much of a surprise that we have an episode where Roxy's illiteracy comes to bite her in the ass.
Finally. I mean, hey, it took 1.5 seasons. She did pretty good.
Yeah. And let's see what kind of crazy hot water it gets in, what kind of crazy situation that Roxy gets into this week with the fact that she can't read. Let's just dive right in, and theme song.
Join us, won't you?
Me and my friends are Jem girls. Jem, Jem is my name. Exciting adventure, fashion, and fame. Once you're a Jem girl, you're never the same. Come on and be a Jem girl. Jem, Jem is my name. Me and my friends are Jem girls. Jem, Jem is my name. Truly outrageous, that's a Jem girl. Glamour, fashion, and fame. Exciting adventure, fashion, and fame. Once you're a Jem girl, you're never the same. Come on and be a Jem girl. Jem is my name.
So we start off, Kristen, this was written by Gina Bekar, who doesn't seem to exist according to Google.
Nice.
Where I put in Becarr and I get Jem Season 2 on Wikipedia. That's the first result. Now, there is a Gina Bekar, Bacarr, and she writes Harlequin novels.
Nice. I'm into it.
I actually DM'd her on Twitter to see if she was the writer of this episode, but she has not responded as of this recording.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess.
Maybe we'll put in a little supplemental at the end if she ever gets back for any reason.
For this being her only Jem episode, and only thing she's ever written in her entire life, according to the current results on Google, hey, she does a pretty good job writing Roxy.
Yeah, hey.
It's the most talking Roxy gets to do. Like, all of the Misfits talk a whole lot in this episode.
They do, actually, and we get... Even Aja gets a good line in this episode.
Right? Bring back Gina the car.
So we start with the instrumentation to I Love a Scandal playing as the episode starts. Pizzazz is wearing her shitty clown outfit.
Sexy clown outfit.
And basically touts the fact that she does not know her lines for this thing that they are doing here. And it's what the teleprompters are for, after all.
She had like half a sentence to say.
Yeah, well, did she ad-lib the fake ponytails line, Kristen?
Probably. What the fuck is a fake ponytail?
I don't know. That's why it's an ad-lib, Kristen, because it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, fake hair. Love TV.
The teleprompter says that the Misfits will be introducing the Bumblebees with their song Buzz on Home, and Roxy tries to, like, read this over. I don't know what she just kind of like, buh, and the lady near the teleprompter is like, no, read what's on the teleprompter. And Roxy kind of turns around and goes, yeah, I was just testing you. I
can read.
I can read.
Are you saying I can't read?
And then Stormer comes over with the quickest line read in history. But Roxy, shouldn't you tell him that you can't read?
And Roxy's like, shut the fuck up!
So Roxy is so quick to shut Stormer down here, you'd think she has a backup plan for not being able to read.
Nope. She just assumes that she'll be able to figure it out.
She does not, you are correct. So the Misfits are counted in, and Pizzazz does her hang on to your fake ponytails, kids, which what? Okay, whatever. So the Misfits are guest hosting some show called Video Madness. Basically, Stormer and Jetta have their own line about, hey, we're here, we're the Misfits, and they throw to Roxy.
Well, wait, you missed the part where Stormer very deliberately pushes in front of Jetta so she can be in the camera. That's the most alpha we've ever seen Stormer.
Stormer and Jetta actually have a lot of, I don't want to say bonding necessarily, but they are around each other without Jetta beating up Stormer, so I think that this is progress, I guess, in their relationship.
I think the important thing is that Jetta is acting like a person in this episode.
And not just a screeching bird hair woman.
Yeah, a walking asshole bird.
So they throw to Roxy at this point, because it's supposed to be Roxy's line. I thought Stormer should have just, like, before they had the chance to move the camera, just say the line to cover Roxy's ass, and then Stormer could have looked like...
And Roxy's here to tell you that this band is gonna do the thing. Repeat the words I just said, Roxy.
She could have done that. I think, she probably... I don't know, maybe they were on limited time? I don't know what happened. But anyway, they throw to Roxy here, and Roxy, for some reason, just... Again, has no plan at all, and she just ad-libs that the song or the artist... Now, again, Bumblebees sung Buzz on Home.
She saw the letter B.
And goes, Ba Ba Black Sheep.
It was a good guess.
Ba Ba Black Bumblebees. Aha, perfect. With their
it.
new song, Ba Ba Buzz on Home. There, got it. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
You would think not being able to read for so long would make her better at this, but no. Pizzazz and Jetta instantly, like, walk over to her and go, what the hell, you introduced the wrong group, and then they all just start tussling with each other.
They all grab a fistful of someone else's hair and start pulling.
You'd think Stormer would be in there to break it up, but I think she's getting involved in the... Stormer's, like, really proactive at the beginning here. I don't know. Something's going on
She's like, this was my big break! All she wants is to be a VJ like her Susan Blue alternate universe self, Lindsay.
The fight is broken up when they're told that they're still on the air, and Pizzazz, with her hair all, like, mussed up, just turns to the camera and goes, so hey, we're back at, what's the name of the show again?
So it's not entirely Roxy's fault.
No, that one should be on Pizzazz for...
You literally said it 2 seconds ago.
Straight up saying, I don't know the name of this program, at the camera when they're live, and the director man who's behind the big TV console thing, he has... Is this the line of the episode, Kristen? Of just, I gave up dog food commercials for this?
It's written like one of those things that's supposed to be the line of the episode, and I'm like, shame on you. That's not funny.
Don't you shame dog food commercials, sir.
Hey, guess what? Dogs don't know how to read either.
Maybe we should have an episode about teaching a dog how to read.
You know what? Maybe. Jem gets that preachy.
The Misfits are kicked out and told that they are never going to guest host again. And for some reason, Jem and company are here. Pizzazz is under the impression that this is because they are so desperate that they'll put any old trash on TV.
Jem and the Holograms and Ba Nee are there. Ba Nee, there's no explanation whatsoever for why Ba Nee is jet-setting to
we need an orphan!
57 cities 47 cities.
Give me an orphan!
Which one is the most qualified to talk about learning how to read? The one that was blind!
That's, my note is, indeed, how did Ba Nee get roped into this? Because she's blind, not illiterate, unless illiteracy by proxy. Because she's blind, maybe, but I don't know.
Ba Nee also gets pretty preachy in this episode.
But yeah, no, now that I think about it, she was in Philadelphia. She didn't need to go to Philadelphia, I don't think.
Yo, it's Ba Nee and the Holograms for this tour. 47 cities. Rock out illiteracy.
From Philadelphia to San Diego.
I'm just thinking about the fact that they just kind of set up a stage in the middle of, like, suburban Philadelphia, and I'm like, there are stadiums here, you know?
Why don't you perform at the Wells Fargo Arena, huh?
I think it's the AT&T Stadium now.
What's the Eagles one is Lincoln Financial Field, I know that.
Wait, no, maybe that's the one that's AT&T Stadium now. I've never actually been to a concert in Philadelphia that wasn't at the Electric Factory, which is incredibly small.
I've been to the Wells Fargo Arena for several WWE events. Oh, and I also wrote the note, what they are really offering is not literacy, but offering experimental eye surgeries to any applicable candidates, of course.
We remembered with the Cisco thing that we can help give people new eyes!
We fade to Misfits music. It's payday. Pizzazz gets a paltry amount thanks to all the sequins from her last costume. 3,422 sequins to be exact.
Hey, Joe!
Yes.
Sequins aren't fucking expensive.
3,422 sequins would be, what, $34.22?
Yeah, I imagine, like, each sequin is, like, maybe 20 cents at the very most. They're made of plastic. They're not expensive.
Maybe we missed the fact that Pizzazz, like, foregoes most of her paycheck because she's fucking rich. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe instead of sequins, they should have said, like, rhinestones or something. Those would have been more expensive.
3,000 rhinestones on a dress sounds terrible, Kristen.
It would be very heavy.
Pizzazz also corrects Eric and says it was 2,000, but who's counting?
Slightly less heavy.
Roxy gets her pay minus a smashed guitar, and Eric is like, it's all laid out here on this pay stub, and Roxy can't... Okay, Roxy must be so illiterate that she can't tell if numbers are upside down, which is a problem.
Letters.
Which is a big problem.
You said numbers are upside down.
Yeah, the numbers were upside down on
There's
it.
words on it, too.
There were words on it, too, but it's the number... Kristen, she can't tell the fucking... If she can't tell what 2 looks like face up, then that's a problem.
To be fair, zeros look the same upside down.
Jetta helps her by turning the paper right side up, and then Pizzazz calls her too stupid to learn how to read.
So the other Misfits also knew that Roxy can't read, and chose to let her try and improv reading on air.
Now that's the thing, I assumed that it was a big secret that Roxy couldn't read, but apparently, yeah, all the Misfits knew, and they just didn't bother to help her out because the Misfits hate each other.
It's like they were suddenly reminded of this fact, and then were like, oh, well, let's at least make fun of Roxy.
And then Jetta signature shames Roxy by saying she probably only signs a big X when she signs documents.
Hey, joke's on you, Jetta, there is an X in Roxy.
Roxy thinks that this is such a deep cut. You don't signature shame Roxy. She quits. Nuh-uh, not in this house.
She does get pretty rightfully angry that they called her stupid. So she's like, fuck you guys, I'm leaving.
And Stormer's just like, Pizzazz, do something. And Pizzazz is just like, she'll be back, whatever.
Pizzazz says, we're the only friends she's got. And wow, sad.
Yeah, that's a little... Woo! Song number 1 of the evening, I'm Gonna Change, which we are gonna play for you right now.
By Roxy.
Troubles behind me, up in the sky, you will find me. I'm gonna change my life today. I've had enough of being poor, missing number 2. Time things will rearrange, a change is overdue. Change. I'm gonna change, you see. And when I change, you'll be impressed. I'm gonna rewrite my story with all the prizes and all the glory. I'm gonna change, you'll see, and be the best.
So Kristen, as you said, this song is credited to Roxy. However, and this isn't even one of those things where, you know how we said in the bands break up, where Stormer and Kimber have the same singing voice. It's actually two different people that sound very similar. This is not that case. This is still Ellen Bernfeld, singer of Pizzazz, singing Roxy's song here.
Yeah, at least the Kimber and Stormer stuff didn't sound exactly like Britta Phillips or something. Yeah, this is just like, why is Roxy singing with Pizzazz's voice?
And the music video itself, it's a lot of, it's kind of sad, kind of. I mean, it's Roxy walking out on a cold fall night looking all forlorn. It's like black and white.
In California,
you know, but there's still leaves blowing and stuff.
But apparently it's pretty warm in Philadelphia because she's wearing a strapless dress later.
There are letters that start flying towards her. For some reason, she, like, spins on her heel on the sidewalk during one of the particular, like, flourishes of the song.
It's like a sad version of a sitcom opening.
Doing it, I don't know. What is that?
What show is that?
Laverne and Shirley?
No, that's not what I was thinking of.
Is that the movie where they're driving off the cliff? That's Thelma and Louise. That must be
that's
Laverne
Thelma
and
and
Shirley.
Louise.
Okay,
Wow.
Laverne and Shirley must be the TV show then.
Yes. Lady Name and Lady Name. They're the same thing.
It starts going into, I guess, a fantasy sequence here of a cloud turns into a red sports car. She goes flying on a leaf.
Roxy hates the Misfits so much that she fantasizes about flying on a leaf.
There's the thing that happens here where we see her, like, fantasizing buying a fur coat. And for some reason, the Misfits are there too. And Stormer is, like, giving a thumbs up, but Pizzazz and Jetta are kind of, like, turned... I don't know, is she, like, putting it in their face? Like, aha, look at how fancy I am. I don't understand.
And even in her fantasy sequence, Stormer is still much nicer than everyone else.
So, yeah, it ends up kind of like Wayne's World fantasying away, and I guess it was just a fantasy inside a fantasy, because I guess you could say the song kind of happened, I guess, her walking part.
There weren't a ton of interesting visuals. Back in the real world, Roxy gets hit in the face with a piece of garbage. Yes,
back to reality, where Roxy gets hit with stupid coincidence number 1 of the episode here, where she's just like, wow, a lottery ticket.
She could read the words lottery ticket. We established that.
Maybe she sees all the numbers and thinks it's a lottery ticket instead of maybe, what if it was like somebody who wrote down their credit card number?
Hey, that would have been pretty lucky too.
So she heads off to where do you cash in lottery tickets? She goes to like what looks, I don't know where, she looks like she's at like a fucking betting track or something.
I know, at the old Price Chopper we used to go to, there was a place where you could cash lottery tickets there.
Right, like grocery stores, but it doesn't seem like grocery stores
or like a convenience store.
Yeah, but it looks like she's going to place a bet on a horse.
Who knows?
So, you know, he rattles off some numbers, and she just kind of turns away, just like, oh, well, whatever. Yeah, I guess it was lucky enough to even find it. And then the guy is just kind of like, well, wait a minute, little lady. You just won $1 million.
And she's like, holy shit, you sounded so unaffected and bored while you were reading the numbers that all matched up. I just fucking assumed. Well, okay, I'm glad you told me at least. Give me that money!
So she goes over and hugs the lottery guy and says that she is going to leave the Misfits behind forever. End of segment 1. The lottery guy is hugged.
This is the happiest Roxy has ever been in her life and will ever be in her life.
Segment 2 starts with Pizzazz running down the other members of the Misfits. I don't know why Pizzazz is yelling at Stormer and Jetta when Roxy is the one that's late.
Yeah, like Stormer and Jetta rightfully are like, yo, we're here, don't yell at us.
Pizzazz is still under the impression that Roxy is going to show up for practice today, and then Stormer gets probably as angry as she'll ever be, where she's just pretty much just like, I told you so, and I haven't seen Roxy in days.
And Stormer was looking for her, which is very nice of her.
And then Jetta, of course, being the soulless husk of a bird, just goes, good riddance if you ask me!
She's kidding herself. She's in love.
And then Roxy shows up, of course, as soon as she said this, and she's like, wow, cool, thanks. Hey, I'm here with all my money, and I'm going to get the fuck out of here.
It's a good thing she switches to a suitcase eventually, because at first she's just walking around with this tiny duffel bag that's full of cash that is literally raining money as she walks around.
Who knows how much of that fucking million smackers that she dropped.
How do we draw Roxy and make it clear she's fucking loaded now?
Well, we need to find a way for Jetta and Stormer to, like, be like, oh, how did Roxy get all that money? They can't have her outside near the car or anything. No, they gotta have her literally walk up to the studio dropping money everywhere.
That's how obvious you have to get for the Misfits to notice anything about anyone.
And then Roxy as well, before she leaves forever here, she gives us her full name, Roxanne Pellegrini, which is not much of a stretch for Roxy compared to literally every other character in the series.
Nope, and, like, she even gets a little bit testy later, like, no, my name is Roxy, not Roxanne, and it's like, it's basically the same thing.
You'll be back. Nobody leaves the Misfits, Pizzazz says.
Stormer's right there thinking to herself, I left the Misfits and had a really successful album, actually.
And then Pizzazz walks into the recording studio and slams the door to record a vocal track of demonic shrieking, I assume.
Nice, just what they needed for Stormer's new song.
Stormer is concerned, but quickly sees the money Roxy dropped and was just like, oh shit, free money. And then just kind of walks over and was like, wait a minute, how did Roxy get this money?
Wait a second, Stormer's smart. I'm curious about this now.
Jetta basically assumes... Now, okay, maybe I'm reading too far into this. Jetta says something along the lines of, Roxy isn't very good at making money. So that to me says Jetta is saying, Roxy stole this money.
She robbed a bank. I always knew she had it in her.
So Jetta and Stormer team up here to do some snooping around to see where Roxy might be going or where
Let
she might
that
have
sink
gotten.
in for a minute. Jetta and Stormer team up.
Yeah, Jetta doesn't try to, like, snap Stormer's arm off or anything like that.
They turn to each other and use words and agree to collaborate. Very interesting steps that Jetta's character is taking in this episode.
Roxy heads to a place called the House of Glamour, which Stormer says really dreamily when she name drops it, so it must be, like, a really cool place.
I guess so. It looks like a mall.
It looks like a mall, but I guess it's a salon, I guess?
Fancy mall with a salon.
A fancy mall salon. They follow Roxy inside, and Roxy, I don't know what Roxy's thinking here, when she just goes into the, maybe because she doesn't know how to talk to people, I don't know, she just goes, hey everybody, listen up, I want a new image, and she doesn't, like, flash her money around first or anything. I don't know if Roxy expects people to be, like, tripping all over themselves to get over to her, just be like, Miss Pellegrini, let me do your nails, I guess.
I don't know, I guess in a place like this, maybe the idea is, like, you get your services taken care of, and then it's like, and now here's the bill that you owe us, instead of like, oh, here's this thing, and this is how much it costs, are you interested?
Probably, yeah, anyway.
It's like, no, take this dress, now give me $3,000.
Song number 2 of the evening, Gimme.
Ellen Burnfield.
I thought you were going to make an ABBA reference again. That's what I was waiting for.
A man after midnight. Won't somebody help me chase these shadows away?
This is the makeover song. There's makeovers going on during the song, I guess. And we see Roxy go through some trials and tribulations at the beginning here, where she gets fucking electroshocked in the barber's chair for some reason.
Take me through the darkness to the break of the day.
It gets plugged in and she gets all, I don't know, whatever. Electricity is prevalent throughout this music video as she's getting her new look, which is basically her hair goes from, like, a straight, like, jagged lines to, like, curved lines, and one side kind of goes over her eye in a few shots.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember all the words to Gimme 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 by ABBA. I'm not listening to a single fucking word you're saying.
We have at one point, Roxy is, like, on a board clothing model. What is the proper name of this thing, Kristen, where she ends up like the fucking Barbie fashion shit thing, where you could, like, pin the clothes to the drawing of Barbie?
Like a paper doll sort of thing, but like a fashion plate. Yeah. I had something like that growing up. Do you remember?
I do remember that, yes.
I could change the head with the hair on it, the top, pants, and the shoes, and occasionally there were big middle pieces that were just full dresses, and then you rub a crayon sideways on it and then color it in. And that's how I became a fashion designer. Thanks, Barbie!
Thanks, Barbie. Thanks, Mattel.
Yeah!
Kristen, this song was used previously in the World Hunger Shindig, and it only occurs to me now that you gotta think, in an episode about giving, about the World Hunger Shindig, about people don't got no food, Pizzazz is singing a song about give me a hamburger, give me some money.
I think I said something in the World Hunger Shindig where it's like, I think I specifically said the Pizzazz Hunger Shindig, where it's donate to me Pizzazz.
Right, of course. Yes, charity begins right here, looking out for number 1, and all that stuff.
Give me all those burgers.
Roxy's throwing cash around here. I like the song better in this context because it's Roxy throwing cash. I mean, I guess maybe I should like it better in the Pizzazz sense because it's more meaningful that way, where here it's just literally, I have the money, give me this shit.
Yeah, here it's more like Roxy's Breakaway song, where it's like, I don't want to be a misfit anymore, now I'm just Roxy. Whereas with Pizzazz, it was, fuck you on Pizzazz, feed me! Seymour?
Even though later on, when she's in Philadelphia, she goes, yeah, being in the Misfits treated me pretty well.
I did that, and now I'm rich, so I quit, and it's just me.
So she gets some lovely earrings, some jewelry, the red car that we saw earlier, the whole nine. She gets her dress is very similar to something Rhea wore once, I think, right?
I don't remember at all, but I really like this dress. This is the sort of thing where, like, if I were going to cosplay a very specific weird thing from Jem and the Holograms, it might be Roxy in this pink dress with the big ruffle down the front. And the elbow-length opera gloves that are also pink.
With the very elaborate jewelry.
It's beautiful.
So We head back to reality at this point. The valet comments on Roxy. I don't know, did this only take place over an afternoon? Maybe did she have the car beforehand? Like, I don't remember.
Who knows?
Anyway, the valet is here, and he's just like, I want you to listen to my band, Valet of the Damned. And Roxy's just like, you need to come back in 25 years, and then we could talk.
Yeah, let's try this again later when Eric Raymond is reincarnated as a woman.
For some reason, so what spurns Roxy to drive across the country...
This Philadelphian valet.
...is this valet going, man, if the people back home could see you now.
And she's like, Philadelphia.
So Roxy basically goes, yeah, back home everybody thought I was a nobody, but I'll show them. I'll show all of them. I'm going back home to Philadelphia.
I don't think they determined until this episode that Roxy's from Philadelphia.
Yes, indeed. Roxy, on a whim, decides to drive to Philadelphia, and Jeddah and Stormer somehow Jeddah and Stormer didn't get, like, found out during their snooping, and they're still even more confused about the money, but at least they know she's going to Philadelphia at this point.
Yep, so Jedda's like, we should probably tell Pizzazz what's happening, because, well, we have a decent amount of time. Let's go get some food first, because I think Roxy is driving to Philadelphia.
So later on, when they start to, like, formulate a plan to bring Roxy back, and Pizzazz says, we need to get on the first plane to Philadelphia, I assume
they take
that
a few days, I guess. And then go, she's probably there by now. Let's go.
They took a plane there first, and then they got there, like, 5 days before Roxy, and we're just like, let's just go back, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll drive into New York, take Amtrak into New York, and hang out there for a bit.
So Gimme 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 starts playing again, and we get it plays basically the entire song again, right? Like, most of it.
I think so. But yeah, it shows literally a map with an arrow going like, yep, Roxy is driving from California to Philadelphia.
Across the goddamn continental United States. And I didn't look, is LA that far south on the United States map, Kristen?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because I do not know.
I did also consider going onto Google Maps and being like, she cuts a pretty sharp path straight from LA to Philadelphia. Roads probably don't exist there unless she was driving off-road.
Yeah, basically a straight line from LA to Philadelphia, which maybe her car can fly, Kristen. She does have $1 million.
That's true.
She also has the top down the entire way, which is nice. That must be pretty...
She gets windburned so bad.
She's like, what month is it? Ah! She's driving through the various biomes of the United States.
She has a tan just on the left side of her body.
So we get to Philadelphia. Kristen, I thought that they were, like, making up a population. Apparently, according to this, the population of Philadelphia is 1.6 million or something like that in 1987. As of 2013, Philadelphia has 1.3 million people. So that may have been either an overestimate or in the past 30 years, somebody was just like, we need to get the fuck out of Philadelphia.
That sounds right. Leaving Philadelphia.
We see a subway Amtrak kind of thing, so of course this is Philadelphia. There we go. That's, obvious. And
yep, they show her fucking up the highway leading into Center City, which, yeah.
I've done that a few times.
Oops, oh shit, there's my exit. Fuck.
So she drives past some faceless guy in a blue shirt, and apparently, maybe he's just a fan of the Misfits. I don't know, because he just goes, hey Roxy, what are you doing in Philly?
She drives under the big Market Street sign, too, so it's always Roxy in Philadelphia?
It's always Roxy in Philadelphia.
Always, yep. She responds to Faceless Blue Shirt Man by yelling, eat your heart out!
And I'm sure both of them could totally hear each other.
Absolutely over the roar of that engine.
So at this point, Roxy doesn't even really, bother to park. She just stops in the middle of the street and turns off the car and gets out and goes, the old neighborhood. Hasn't changed a bit.
Still no street parking.
But I've changed. I park in the middle of the street now.
And she does walk around a little bit going like, but literally where the fuck is everyone? And there is a big pavilion set up for the first stop on Jem's Rock Out Illiteracy. No, then again, it might not actually be the first stop because it does take Roxy several days to drive there. At first I was thinking when I was watching this episode, how did Jem get there so quickly? And then I'm like, Roxy drove to Philadelphia. Jem probably took a plane.
I want to know, why is the Rock Out Illiteracy Tour... Now, I don't know how tours usually work, Kristen. If they're doing 47 cities across the United States, should they start in California or do they end in California?
I guess they could do it either way, so this isn't the worst. If this all happened and it turned out Roxy was from, fucking Utah or something, I would be like, oh, what? Are you kidding me? But I guess we can imagine they did, like, in the days it took Roxy to get to Philadelphia, some of New England and then New York and then went to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I would say that she's probably done, like, a Boston and a New York, and, like, 2 or 3 New York shows or something like that before going to Philadelphia. And anyway, so yeah, we cut to Jem and the Holograms at this point. There's a reporter, clearly voiced by Kimber, who is asking Jem what she hopes to accomplish on a tour named Rock Out Illiteracy.
We want people to not be hungry anymore!
Yay, the World Hunger Shindig! Wait a minute, we did that one already!
Shit. I mean... Hey, who wants to learn how to read with Jem and the Holograms and this blind orphan?
We want to make people aware of the importance of reading, Jem says, wearing her racist racing suit.
Yeah, I noticed that too. She doesn't have the boa this time, though.
It's never too early to learn, or too late to start. Hint, 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 wink, Roxy, hint, wink, 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 wink.
It's like every single person in this episode is really determined to be condescending toward Roxy.
Kim Portber here says that she thinks
I had
it's
no
great.
idea what that was referring to for a second. I was like, what the fuck is Kim Portber?
The Kimber reporter, of course.
Now I understand.
So Kim Portber says that she thinks this is great. It's kind of hard to be on the other side of the equation here, Kristen, because who's going to be the reporter that goes, no kids read, stop that.
None of them. How dare you come to our city of Philadelphia and say that?
She says her name is Betty Vick, but no, her name is Kim Portber, obviously, and she shows up again, so I'm going to refer to her as such when she shows up again.
So for some reason, Jem and the Holograms let Ba Nee loose in Philadelphia, and she approaches some, generic tough street dudes, saying like, hey motherfucker! Yo, you feel like reading?
She approaches the Sharks and or the Jets.
Yeah. And she's like, I can tell by looking at you that you're illiterate. Anyway, my name is Ba Nee. Let me share my story with you. Here's my card, by the way.
And Link goes, wow, that's really, you're kind of stereotyping gang members here, Miss Child. I'm a stock trader on Wall Street.
Oh, my mistake. So, do you need a private investigator to see if your wife is cheating on you? Because I could do that for you.
No, but I do need a lot of cocaine.
I could do that for you, too. Whoa, Ba Nee.
What side of the law are you on?
Both.
These are the Red Aces. Red Aces, yeah, the Red Aces, headed by Link, and there's like 2 other dudes with them. One has a bit of an accent to him, which, again, makes me think of the Sharks and the Jets. But
Yep, there you go.
Ba Nee is basically saying, like, how are you ever going to get a job if you can't fill out the form? How are you ever going to fill out the form for my investigation firm if you can't read? How are you ever going to pay me for a job well done if you can't read?
Pay me!
She also says that they can't read signs or recipes or a phone book even. Ba Nee, it is the future. We do not need a fucking phone book.
I could just have Siri read shit to me.
Link goes, who says I can't read? And then Ba Nee produces her, is it her fucking first reader book that she gives to Roxy later?
I think so. What a dick. She's like, oh, you can read, adult man, prove it. Like, what the fuck, Ba Nee? You're ice cold.
And he gets half a word in before throwing the book aside, like, I don't need to hear this from a fucking orphan, get out of here!
And she's like, okay, fine.
Go lecture somebody else, preferably someone not in their late 20s.
Where are your... Well, I was gonna say where are your parents, but it's more like where's your foster mom?
He asks where are your parents, and then Ba Nee just starts crying.
But they're crocodile tears, because Ba Nee is hard as fuck.
So, the Red Aces head off, and Roxy confronts them. She calls them all dropouts, and Link is just like, oh yeah, well we're the Red Aces, and we don't like smart Alex here. It's me, Zipper.
Holy shit, Link is Zipper. And Roxy is just like, I have white hair. Please tell me you don't recognize the only person you probably know in your entire life who's had white hair.
I was going to say, here's where we learn the main guy's name is Link, and he's just like, is that Roxanne? Roxanne Pellegrini? Because apparently he knew a lot of white-haired women, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton of people in Philly. I see it on a day-to-day basis.
Here's where she insists to be called Roxy, even though she identified herself as Roxanne previously. Doesn't matter, whatever. She brings them over to basically go, do you like my car? Look at my car that I bought with my own money.
And they're all oohing and ahhing over her cool car. Someone basically just goes, whoa, car, a lot of car, so much car. Which I guess is the best compliments they can come up with as illiterate people. Maybe their vocabularies aren't huge.
Being a misfit has made me rich, is what Roxy says. But yes, again, now I'm not one anymore. And I did win the lottery, but I'm not going to tell you about that.
No. And Roxy is like, so what you been up to since we all dropped out of school?
Kristen, what year could they have possibly dropped out of school to not learn how to read?
They were on the split shift. They went to school until the 3rd grade, and then they split. And now it's Little Shop of Horrors.
Kristen, can Roxy read music?
I would assume yes. Reading music is nothing like reading words.
That's true. I know how to read, but I cannot read music.
I can kind of read music.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe she should parlay that into something. Maybe it could be like, I can read, I can tell you what a fucking G clef looks like, I guess.
Well, identifying a G clef is also not reading.
I don't know, Kristen. I told you, I'm music illiterate, Kristen.
I know, I'm only partially musically literate. I can read music enough to sing. I did choir for like 4 years. I did band for a couple of years, and I played guitar for a few years, so I should be able to read music better than I actually can.
Roxy offers the Red Aces some cash to work for her. Link feels weird taking money from a girl, which, Kristen, it must be kind of hard.
Oh, that old Philly misogyny.
It must be kind of hard to get work when, 1, you can't read, and 2, you don't want a lady for your boss.
Or is this Italian misogyny?
Hey, how do you know Link is Italian?
Because it kind of sounds like it.
You're right.
I don't know about taking money from a girl.
Roxy's job offer is basically she wants to make life miserable for Jem and the Holograms, and the Red Aces, to their credit as partially good as sharks or jets,
They're not full zippers.
are basically just like, well, what did she ever do to us?
She's putting on a free concert. She's going to teach everyone how to read.
And then Roxy grabs Link by the collar, saying that the Holograms are only here to make people look dumb. D-U-M, dumb.
She was close.
Link just taps her on the shoulder. B. What? D-U-M-B. What? Dumb. Yeah, D-U-M-B.
How would he know? He can't read either.
While Roxy is doing this, her fancy earrings disappear as well in the shot when she grabs him by the neck, and then they appear back in the next shot.
We didn't see it, but she took them off in order to threaten him just in case they started to rumble.
No, they disappear mid-shot, Kristen.
No, she took them off. Like any good Philly woman.
Also, they've ruined her homecoming, and nobody even noticed she arrived. That's a pretty bad coincidence, and there's a lot of bad coincidences in this episode.
I was just about to say, and then I read your next note. Very same thought. If she took a plane, she would have gotten there before them.
But she needed to show off her car!
You know what? That's how it goes, isn't it?
We cut back to the Misfits. They're having trouble getting anything done without Roxy. The songs don't work with her missing. Even Jetta seems to agree. Now, I mean, Pizzazz and Roxy, do they both play guitar, Kristen?
Hey, we don't know. Roxy has been shown playing guitar and also drums.
It'd be fine if maybe Roxy was bass, because then they could at least have some rhythm involved in their shit, unless, I don't know, if Stormer's fucking guitar plays, like, the demo as their, like, backing track or something. I don't know.
It goes like, boom, 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 chick, boom, 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 chick, boom, 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 chick, and that's all it does.
Right. If they don't have any sort of rhythm guitarist or something to keep the beat, then I can understand why they are having trouble.
I don't know. Maybe Roxy also does, like, the drum tracks for their songs, and they play those, and it helps them keep the beat.
Maybe. What if Roxy is like George Michael and she just has a perfect, like, metronome timing in her brain?
So that's why there's no room in her brain for reading.
Gotta be a perfect metronome, sorry.
Yep, can't read if you're gonna do that.
Pizzazz, clearly much smarter than Roxy, says they need to catch the next plane to Philly to make her come back. Stormer is concerned that, what happens if she says no? And Eric's just like, leave it to me. I know exactly how to persuade her. Which sounds like I'm gonna offer her money, but ends up being, you're under contract, get the fuck back here.
Yeah, Eric sounds like he has something, like, big plan that he's been mulling over for the past couple of days. But it's literally just, she's under a fucking contract. Let's go
Literally
get her.
just, you signed a contract that you didn't read.
Get back in the car. Drive back to LA. We're gonna catch a plane.
Cut back to Jem and company. They're stuck in a cab, and Jem asks what's goofing up the traffic.
It's all the Philadelphia. You're welcome to the city.
They get out and head towards their rock out illiteracy stage. Aja notes
Take the L like everyone else.
Aja notes that the sound of music is getting closer and that it's music that's unpleasantly familiar. It turns out to be Making Mischief, which is quickly replaced by carousel music at the beginning of segment 3.
Great. Also, that's rude, Aja.
They turn a corner and somehow Roxy got the permits, but we find out that she didn't.
So, overnight, she just hired a shitload of people to put on a street carnival.
Basically, yes, Roxy's Rumble, right next to Jem's Rock Out Illiteracy stage. And Jem, upon seeing this, asks if she's dreaming, and Kimber says it's a full-on nightmare that people would rather have fun than be encouraged to read.
So this is one of those things, again, where it's like, it it wasn't nice of Roxy to purposefully upstage Jem the Holograms like that, but she's doing a Roxy Rumble, free things for everyone. She wants people in her old neighborhood to have fun now that she could foot the bill. She isn't hosting a fuck the Jem the Holograms Rumble.
Fuck reading tour.
Everyone forget how to read. Stand in line, I will hit you in the head with a rock.
Roxy is back to her old look today, too. I'm assuming that she took a shower or something and was, like, her hair returned to normal. And was like, shit, I don't have time to go to the salon today.
There's not a big fashion palace here in Center City in this year, as far as I know.
She welcomes everyone to the Roxy Rumble, end of segment 2. Well, actually, segment 3 starts with a Liberty Bell march instead of Making Mischief as carousel music. And I gotta think, whoa, Liberty Bell, Philadelphia.
I wonder how close they are to Old City. Like if Roxy went into the Betsy Ross house and was like, hey, fuck this flag!
13 stars! How do I even know that there's 13 of them on there?
She could probably count.
Can she, Kristen?
Okay, there's a difference between reading a number amount on a bill and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Can
6,
she,
7.
Kristen?
Okay. Don't be mean to Roxy.
She's got street smarts.
Which can include counting.
I think we've been over this before, where I thought I made the joke that Roxy couldn't count beyond 2, and I was like, she could probably count. So I'll go back. I'll rescind my making fun of Roxy. She can probably count.
Probably.
We see the empty rock out illiteracy stage in the background with illiteracy spelled wrong, which is hilarious.
Great.
It becomes illiteracy spelled correctly later, but in the background of this shot, there's no E in it, so truly outrageous.
Completely outrageous and ironic.
A traffic copter is reporting on the Roxy Rumble saying drivers should steer clear and that it literally popped up overnight.
So, Roxy's saying fuck you to Jem and the Holograms and the entire city.
The Kim Portbear is here. She's interviewing Roxy and is just like, hey, I heard that you financed the Roxy Rumble all by yourself. And she did. Free food, free music, free fun for everyone. That sounds pretty fucking cool.
I would go to the Roxy Rumble.
However, things aren't all fucking sweet roses and candy forever because, I mean, we'll see. We'll get to it. But we have the first kind of, like, inkling of, like, ooh, something bad might happen when a guy is here just with a contract and just going, sign the contract. And Roxy's like, all right, what does it say? And he goes, what's the matter, big shot? You can't read.
And she's like, fuck you, and then signs it in an act of defiance.
It's just a contract for the concessionaires. That's all it is. Even though later, I mean, maybe he has a right to be angry after what happens later when he's just going, I need to get paid!
It really doesn't seem like Roxy fucks up things too bad, because we find out by the time the Roxy Rumble is over, she still has $500,000.
Yeah, Somehow.
It doesn't make any sense.
We cut back to Jem's Rock Out Illiteracy stage. There are 3 people waiting to watch them perform.
Teach us how to read!
What a fucking fickle crowd Philadelphia is, Kristen.
Those 3 nerds that are left.
Aja goes, if it isn't all of the misfits bothering us, it's one of them. Okay, Aja, when was the last time only one misfit bothered you?
I guess when Stormer kidnapped Kimber in the middle of the night and whisked her away to be married.
Does that count? Stormers, I mean, they seemed pretty happy with how, whatever, doesn't matter. This is a pretty big coincidence for the holograms, too. So, technically, I would say that there's 3 big coincidences in this episode. The lottery, Roxy coming home where the holograms are, and then I guess, in effect, the holograms getting their rock out illiteracy thing shit on because Roxy came home, even though one informs the other in this situation.
Roxy has the right here. She used to live here. It's her home. The holograms should leave.
They should go to the Wells Fargo Center and perform.
Go promote literacy somewhere else. Also, yeah, go to a real stadium.
Shayna's pissed that nobody's here to rock out illiteracy with them now, and Rhea says maybe they should just talk to Roxy, and her voice is really, really accented again, and I don't know when it's going to stop or if it stops.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out now that we've noticed it. This is the only thing Rhea says in this episode as far as I remember, so Also, Kimber's like, fuck no, we're not going to talk to Roxy, but God bless her angel heart. Ba Nee is like, we should try, though.
So Roxy is on some red zebra on the carousel, just reveling in the popularity of everything. She's laughing and shit.
There are people riding on top of the carousel.
There are. I noticed that. That's weird.
What the fuck?
Maybe that's why it falls, but I don't know. Maybe one thing Roxy should have invested in was security, unless she doesn't trust the man.
She probably does not. I don't blame her.
Then again, she doesn't have the permits, so maybe the police need the permits before, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but we see people getting free t-shirts that say Roxy Rumble.
Kristen.
Do you want one?
I think a puke-green t-shirt that just says Roxy Rumble in black text would be a wonderful shirt to have.
I can design one for you and put it up on Redbubble.
Well, I'm not going to pay $20 for it.
Okay, how much do you think t-shirts cost, Joe? Nothing in this life is free!
I could go to Joann Fabrics or, like, Michael's and buy a green t-shirt for $3 maybe?
And then draw on the Roxy Rumble yourself?
Maybe. I mean, they don't look like they're great shirts.
Okay, so looking purposefully shitty is part of it. I thought you wanted a good t-shirt. They did get all of these t-shirts done in a single night.
They did, yes. And maybe they only had like 5, so...
Shit, draw on it with marker.
We have that there's free hot dogs and free cotton candy, and...
God, I want cotton candy.
I'm not a big fan of cotton candy.
I like it.
Suddenly, though, they start to run out of t-shirts, and people get unruly very quickly, Kristen.
Yep, I feel like this episode is a critique on the East Coast.
That old Philadelphia temper starts to flare in all of the people as they really wanted those puke-green shirts, to the point of threatening to take a shirt off of some guy's back and fighting over one, like grabbing, like playing tug of war with it.
Mm-hmm. God, those Philadelphians, they are so unruly.
They run out of free hot dogs and stuff too, and then some kid gets really angry and says like, I want a free hot dog! We're out! Don't get me out! You said you had free stuff!
To be fair, that's at my age, that's kind of what I do too.
I mean, maybe you put a disclaimer that's just like, free stuff not available for everyone.
Free stuff, not infinite.
Yeah, that's all you need in the note, not infinite. There you go.
There is an end to this.
Something happens here, which again...
Asterisk, within reason.
There's a bit of a tussle, again, over the two people fighting for this shirt. It rips in half, and one stumbles back into a dude who accidentally squirts mustard all over some guy's new shirt.
Oh, my nice t-shirt. I bought this at Target.
The Philadelphia temper comes up as the guy who gets the mustard on the t-shirt shoves the hot dog guy into the hot dog stand, which promptly collapses on itself like it's IKEA furniture.
It probably is.
And then at this point, the carousel just decides, fuck this, and then goes off of its axis and gets destroyed.
And people fall off of the top of it and die, I assume.
Some guy throws a hot dog, Raya ducks it, and it hits a lady behind her. The holograms look shocked at all these developments.
Roxy is like, okay, stop the fighting, please. There's so much more free stuff coming, right?
And Link is just like, nope, they didn't expect a crowd this size, which happens. You ever hear of a little thing called, Woodstock 99? Huh? You ever hear of that one?
Theoretically, yes. I know what Woodstock is.
Yeah, Woodstock 99 was where they didn't have, like, enough porta potties and water, and it was really rainy and kind of muddy, and Fred Durst was on stage, lead man of Limp Bizkit, and they have a song called Break Stuff, and I guess he was encouraging that, and there was fires, and the water was like $6 and shit, or like a slice of pizza was $6. It was bad.
Fuck you, Fred Durst.
Fuck you, Fred Durst. You caused
this. That sounds like something he would do.
You ruined the Roxy Rumble, Fred Durst. How dare you?
Do for the nookie. And that's all I know.
So the police start arriving as the Rumble is getting out of hand. They start breaking everything up. Fire trucks show up as well for some reason.
Something is probably on fire somewhere.
We fade out. Everyone has calmed down. Roxy's now being hounded by people saying that she signed a form or a contract saying she'd pay for damages as well as fines for not having the proper permits. And then there's the guy from the contract before who's just like, I want to get paid. We got an ironclad contract here.
And Roxy's just like, oh, fuck, I have no idea how much money I owe any of these people.
And Jem, Angel Jem herself, Angel fucking...
Saint Jim.
Saint Jim goes, do you need any help?
And Roxy's like, yes.
Jem, you want to help? And Jem delivers a very flat, almost exasperated, yes. Just like,
I'm so mad at you, but you clearly need assistance.
We need to get all this shit in order if we want to have the Rock Out Illiteracy concert, so please let me help you.
So Jem asks everyone to form a single file line, and she figures out how much Roxy owes everyone.
And we fade, and she's paying the last person, and she lectures Roxy about the importance of knowing what kind of contract you're signing, and Kimber comes in like, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, preaching to the fucking choir. Oh, read your contracts? Yeah, that's the lesson a lot of people in this series can learn.
And Roxy goes, why? Didn't everything work out okay? And Jem, as sarcastic as she's ever been, goes, Roxy, your gratitude is overwhelming.
What a dick.
The Red Aces, of all people, are even just like, you know what, Roxy? I think Jim is right.
Your name is Jim, right? That curly letter, it makes an sound, right? Jim.
And they basically say, you know, what you don't know is eventually going to come to bite you. So I think I want to learn how to read.
The street toughs. They are turning a corner. God bless them.
Reading is fungicational, Kristen, and they are going to start using their brains for a change.
Reading is fungus, is what it sounded like you said to me for a second there.
Jem commends them on their decision and leads them over to the rock out illiteracy stage. Roxy's just like, who gives a shit? I'm still rich.
And then the tax man comes.
Oh, the tax man. Yes, I'm the tax man. Yeah, I'm taking 50% of your winnings. What the fuck kind of tax is that? Where you win $1 million in... I know that lottery winnings are pretty steeply taxed. 50% is a lot.
Yeah, that sounds wrong.
I mean, I'm no tax expert. Maybe when she does her taxes, she can get some of it back? I don't know.
Let's face it, Roxy's not doing her taxes.
50%, that means I'm broke. And the guy just kind of goes very flatly, sorry, that's the law, and then walks off with all of her money.
That was not the tax man at all. That was some asshole in a suit that came to rob her.
You know what? I was gonna say, how did the IRS find Roxy? I mean, maybe the Roxy Rumble was like a big event on TV or something, but he didn't show any identification. He could have just been a dude who took her money.
Again, yeah, all of these expenses totaled up to $500,000 exactly. So Roxy really didn't do too bad of a job budgeting.
No. And then he adds insult to injury, saying she should read the tax regulations sometime as he leaves. And Ba Nee was standing in the background during most of this and kind of walks over to Roxy. And Roxy has that kind of like glassy-eyed 1,000-yard stare going on, just kind of like, how could this have happened kind of look.
And Ba Nee is like, hey, fuck the government, right?
I got something for you here. And she hands over a book and it's got a rock hammer inside of it. For Shawshank.
What?
No, what? Kristen, you should just watch the Shawshank Redemption. Jesus.
It's not gonna happen.
Whatever. Or the Ba Nee gives Roxy a book. It's to help to learn her to read, to help teach her to read, not learn her to read. That is bad grammar.
Joe.
It's almost a touching moment that happens here until the Misfits arrive and Pizzazz is me like, look who's been too long at the fair.
And Roxy's like, God!
Eric's strategy, as we said, is basically, you're in breach of contract if you leave, so get the fuck back here and perform with your dumb girl band.
And Roxy's like, fine.
Like, basically, yeah, she gives in immediately because Pizzazz also comments that, of course, what she did here counts as unpaid time off, and Roxy's just like, alright, whatever, no use fighting in the matter.
She hears the word contract and she's like, I give up.
Song number 3 of the evening. This song again. Open a book.
Oh, great. Condescend to me more, Jem.
What wonders you will find opening a book. Ugh.
Since the last time we got the song in the Treasure Hunt episode, I read 1 book.
I've read 0, so...
Jem is guilting me into reading.
They have a giant book on stage here, and they managed to pull in, I guess, a pretty big crowd, bigger than what looks to be the people that were there for the Roxy Rumble.
Yeah, like, it's a huge... It doesn't look safe, first of all. And there appear to be people behind the stage.
They're all in the street, and it's like the U2 concert on the roof, where they're just like, wow, look at all these... Look at where the streets have no name, wow!
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Or like the Beatles concert on the roof.
Sure.
I think that they did that in reference to the Beatles concert on the roof. Anyway,
Great,
U2...
rock out illiteracy.
Rock out illiteracy, where the streets have... Ladies and gentlemen, Bono, here to rock out illiteracy.
Yeah. I would rock out illiteracy with Bono.
A book opens to the word cat, which morphs into a cat monster that then jumps out of the book at the reader.
What is it with Western animation not being able to make anything look cute? Everything just is way too detailed and hideous.
Some girl's book explodes paper when it opens like it's fucking Ghostbusters.
Great. There's someone at the grocery store looking at all these cereals, and eventually they pick up one that says healthy cereal.
Chocolate flakes, candy-coated zips, no thank you. I'll take healthy cereal.
Fiber. Delicious. This is broccoli cereal.
We see the Red Aces filing out job applications, and they get hired at a used car place. Honest Abe's used car? Something like that.
What the fuck?
And then the car, like, explodes in the background like it's the Bluesmobile.
Great.
And that's the end of the song. Jem condescends directly to the screen, saying, make the smart decision. Learn how to read.
As if there were children watching this in the 80s who were, like, on the fence about whether or not they were going to learn to read.
We fade to Roxy, who opens a book, the book that Ba Nee gave her, not a book, because, you know, doesn't hurt to try. So she starts reading, I see the boy, and Jeddah...
And then Jeddah hears effort behind the door, and she kicks it down, and she's like, stop, you idiot! Have I mentioned you're stupid recently? 'Cause you are.
Roxy throws the book in the trash and is just like, yeah, I don't need to read to play music, you're right, I am stupid, leave the room, please.
She shoves Jeddah out, locks the door, takes the garbage book out of the garbage. And she's like, I'm gonna do it for Ba Nee, because I owe her money.
We get an encore of Open a Book. That was the end of the episode, by the way. Her trying to read, I see Spot run. I see the boy running. I see he threw a touchdown. Good for the boy. That boy was Brett Favre.
Super Bowl shuffle.
We get an encore of Open a Book, except it shows the video from the treasure hunt for some reason.
Great.
And that's the end of the episode. Kristen, what did you think of Roxy Rumble?
I love Roxy Rumbles. I always feel a little bit bad at how fucking mean everyone is to Roxy in this episode, because it gets a little bit vicious.
I mean, a part of the problem seems to be Philadelphia, Kristen.
Yeah, again, a little rude in my opinion, that portrayal of Philadelphia as someone who lives here and loves Philly very much.
I think Roxy Rumbles is a fine episode. It could do better with the songs, I think. That's the only weakness in my mind. Gimme, 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 as we said, not a great Misfit song. Open a Book is fucking stupid and I hate it. And I'm gonna change whatever. It was fine.
They wasted an opportunity to give Roxy her own song about breaking away from the Misfits, and it was the song that had little to no rhyming, and like barely a structure at all. So it's like, damn, do Roxy better. This is the only episode she gets.
This is the only episode she gets. What a fucking shame. Well,
at least it's a good episode.
Yeah. Now's the point in the evening where we'll list off all of the fun contact things, where you could find us. You could follow us on the Twitter machine at CWTAPod. You could follow me at Octopus, that's AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You could find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the Stitcher Radio, and as of this recording, hopefully all of the episodes will be on YouTube. I have started the arduous process. As it stands, I have most of Season 1 and all of the movie episodes uploaded to YouTube, so either last week's Jem the Movie episode or this week's episode will be the first episode uploaded to YouTube, or right on time with SoundCloud and all of the others, so head on to YouTube. It's probably easier to follow us there. I don't know, I know I've had people who were just like, oh, if you had it on YouTube, I'd probably listen to it then. Well, fuck you! Now you get your chance! Listen to it on YouTube! I didn't mean to say fuck you, I'm sorry, we have a very small listener base.
I was thinking to myself, I don't understand. As someone who listens to podcasts on my phone all the time, I use the Overcast app because it's just easier for me than the iTunes podcast app. Everything I need is right there. I guess some people use their computers more often for work and would just prefer to open up a podcast in YouTube, sure.
Yeah, why not? Anyway,
I don't understand that demographic, but hey, we see you guys and we appreciate you, and now we are catering to you.
Yeah, hey, you could also reach us at Gmail, cwtapod@gmail.com, where you could tell us, once again, how to open a book, and if you need to read in order to read music, which I believe actually we confirmed, you might not need to, yeah. Or perform music, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just let us know.
You don't even need to know how to read music to play music.
Yeah, there we go.
Depends on how good your brain is.
So, next week, Kristen... Woo! Woo!
Yeah!
It is alone again.
I feel like we haven't actually talked about this episode on the podcast as much as we've talked about it to each other.
I think you're right, and that's the thing. I kind of want to not necessarily leave it as a surprise. This episode was preachy in some way, I guess. The next episode we're going to be dealing with something a lot more troublesome than illiteracy. If
you have ever, even once in your life, considered doing drugs, next week's episode is for you.
Next week is Alone again. I can't wait. It's got Nightmare in it. I think that might be the only time I've mentioned it. Like Nightmare. So, for the Can We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
I'm Kristen.
And join us next week, where it must be a nightmare!
Drugs are in the mail?
Don't send drugs through the mail, please.
Don't send drugs through the mail.